you see me? I think I'm live. You're live. That's what it says. Okay, we'll take that. Hi. Anybody want to come in? That would be great. I'd love to see you. This is day 2. I had it set up so I could read basically what it was about. It's really day 3, but I'm trying to get this in before tonight gets too caught up. And my chat, I hate it when that happens. Okay, the page I was looking for just appeared off the phone. Of course it did. Because of course it has to do that just as I'm about to use it. So I'm trying to share 62 days of wisdom. I guess I don't have a lot of it. Well, I have some. I lived some things. There's a lot of things I want to share, and they kind of melt into each other. I've been trying to write them down. I got to 10 just because we're only in the first few days, and some stuff might come to me later. Apparently, my phone doesn't want to come to me the way I want it to and do what I ask it to do. We did have a rainstorm, which sometimes affects the ability of it to connect. Now it looks like we're good there. It's just slow because I have too many things going, probably. Well, I shouldn't have to. I'll tell you this much. You're my customers. Come on in. Subscribe to this channel. That'd be great. I have great stuff for you. I give great advice. I did a live TikTok yesterday. So I did on day 2 do a day 2 live. But then strangely afterwards, because I might have broken some rules, the live TikTok, the whole TikTok account, it had like 938 people. If you were one of my TikTok people, you got to join the other one that has 732 and get me back up or beyond, because it's gone, disappeared. So everything I ever posted on it, I think it was Angel Aura 28. I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure about anything. I'm going to turn off my phone and turn it back on because sometimes it helps me build it up. But I'm telling you, that was disappointing, sad to lose all that. Well, first of all, my 900 and something people, I miss you. You guys can come here. I must have posted it on TikTok because, one of my short videos had 900 and something, 938 people saw it. Maybe that was posted there. So if you've been here and looking at my shorts, hey, shame that you're looking at my shorts, but join up here, subscribe here. Some of you saw it, and it was great. I will post it again. Well, it's there in my shorts. It was, and you'll see it. It'll say how many views it had, and I think it had 928, which I believe is what I had on TikTok. So I'm cool with that. I'm wearing my glasses because I have to read my phone if it does what I want it to do. It was, and then it wasn't. Let's see. Maybe. Well, I can't do it that way because I don't think that happened. Sometimes I keep things in pictures, but it doesn't always work that way. By the way, got the cutest picture today of a puppy dog. He's 3 years old, but they're all puppies to me because they're all babies. I think they're all babies, and they are. Oh, I had very sad news, by the way, on day 2. That was another reason. My friend texted me. So I lived in Queens Village for a while with my friend. I rented a room for about 5 years. Now, I've been in Astoria here for about 5 or 6 years, too, so it's not too different. I'm going to look at this. I think I may have found what I was looking for, hopefully. Well, not that well, but it's got to be here somewhere. Boy, this computer gets slow. Well, not the computer, the phone. The phone is slow because I need more space, and then I just found out I need more space here. Anyways, my sad news. Maybe a couple. Actually, there is a couple. So a friend of mine posted on Facebook, who's an actress who I worked with when she was 14 and I was 18. We did a children's theater, and I'd like to send out greetings to her, Johanna. We called her Yo-Yo back then. I'm told that she only goes by Johanna now, but because I broke that to her off-Broadway debut. She did a play, and I told everybody in the cast that we called her Yo-Yo. And then I think they started teasing her about that. But her name is Johanna. And apparently, a little bit back, a little bit, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, because she didn't really say, but she posted the other day that she hadn't posted in a while because she was in the hospital. She had burns from a car accident, I believe. And she's had a lot of skin grafts, etc. But she said because her birthday was recent, and we all sent her birthday greetings, of course, on Facebook as we do, and we hadn't, I guess, seen any post. I knew she had some kind of audition work, but hard to say. And I believe her accident happened. She lives in Arizona, and she comes back and forth because her son lives in New York. But I don't know the details. She didn't really give that many. She gave pretty good details of what happened to her, but it was that she was in some kind of accident. Yes, I see that. That's old. Okay, I'm looking at my stuff. And she was burned quite a lot. So, look, sending out greetings. I hope you're better. You recover well. The skin grafts, she said, worked well. And, all power to you to get much, much better as quickly as you can. Um, that would be great. So I have here, strangely, something has disappeared. Well, that's interesting. Day 2. Okay, so today I'm going to give you this. And this is some of my words of wisdom. Nobody is better than you. We are where we are. Keep that in mind. So that's on my Substack article, my most recent one. So please also go to my Substack. It's completely free at this point. I don't know if I'll get it to be paid at some point. I don't know because I'm kind of new to it. So I'm just learning a lot about it. But this is my 61 days to 62 now, to age 62. So, well, it was yesterday. Today is actually 60 days. I'm going to tell you something a friend of mine said to me years ago. I work for his media company. He said, never be afraid to pick up the phone and ask to speak to the CEO. No one is better than you, which is true. It's also part of my theory, and this is part of something I would teach you. I think I said it in my article on Substack. His career, he's worked with so many great stars who may have worked stopping and starting, I see here. I hope you can all hear me. I hope it doesn't block out that way because it's going that way. Anyways, you can see I'm leaning on my bed because it's comfortable, and that's what I want to do. So let me say the story. Degrees of separation. As far as I remember the game, somebody told me you have to find 6 degrees of separation between Kevin Bacon and whoever. But I think you can also find 1, because if you have 1, then it's 1, and you win the game because you found closer than 6. But you can do that with anybody in the world. You really can. At least you can get to them in a safe way. I'm not suggesting anything. If you're a psychotic and you want to hurt somebody, stop that. Stop it. And, well, get help and get arrested or whatever, because I don't stand by that. But if you want something good, like even an actor, because I have got to know Tim, I have nothing on the agenda to hurt or harm him. I have been called many things. I used to say that I was the lazy stalker because some people called me a stalker. I'm not a stalker. Yes, I'm very, many Tim Curry fans or many fans of anybody is very obsessed. Don't get me wrong. And not that I wasn't obsessed or not that I am. And that's fine. But, oh, something just happened. The machine is starting to do, if I can get out of there and get back to you. Okay, I'm still here. So my computer just does things. I send something and it takes months later. Well, a few minutes later. Anyways, the difference between stalking, first of all, is danger. You probably want to hurt them because that is a bad thing. And I just wanted to know him, meet him, thought that, work with him. Didn't happen for me, but my friends did. Yeah, hey, come on. He got to work with him in his first film. So he lived my dream. So I had a lot of those vicarious things. But again, everybody's 6 degrees. When I started saying I want to meet and know Tim Curry, yeah, I'm not saying I didn't have romantic feelings, and still do, Tim. But that said, and I've had plenty of dreams, so I pretty much lived them, is that, yeah, it happens. In that sense, I didn't have a romance with him in waking life, but in that other alternate universe of dreaming, I certainly did and do. And I still love him. He loves me. He's very nice to me, meaning, in a good way, friendship way. And because you never want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you in that way, or whatever way. If they want to be your friend, they do. And that's cool. So what my thing today was, yeah, nobody is above you in those senses. Even if they think they are, they're not. That's narcissism, and that's a different problem, which maybe I'll get into another time. But if you want to get a hold of somebody and get something done, and I can tell you that in many ways. Yes, I got to meet Tim Curry based on many things that happened, and that's a fun story. I will share it at one point, but not quite yet because I'm writing a book about a lot of that. And I have shared those stories. They are online, so if you look it up, you will find stories about me. They call me Curry's Angel. So I think if you did a Google search on Curry's Angel, you'll probably find a lot of those stories because they're still out there. And I didn't take them down. I'm just making them a little better, putting them together in a book. And then there's some I didn't share publicly, but I've shared with friends privately, one-on-one, or with fans at some of the Rocky Horror conventions, etc. Those are fun too. And they'll be in the book now in written form, including somebody's and everybody's favorite towel story. But I'm not going to share it now. I'm just telling you there's a towel story that I will tell you this much. I saw Tim in nothing but a towel and a smile. But that was fun. That was just fun. And yes, the other one is the more serious one. I had a boyfriend who found out he had a daughter. And when we found out that she was even existed, she was 5 years old. And then when we got the DNA done and everything happened, she was 7, give or take. She was near 7. And we didn't realize that the biological mother, who the whole time we figured had her, did not. She was in foster care. And she had been in foster care from the age of 5 on. And if they had told us when we found out that he was a father, which I believe we found out right around the time she was 5, give or take, that if we had known, we would have certainly helped him get custody of her because that is his child and he loves her. And he didn't know it was his. But although when I met her and saw him, you know that they're related because spitting image. That's when you say, oh, I know who the father is. For several reasons. But number one, she does look like him, much prettier, of course. Although I never put my boyfriend at the time in drag, he might have been very in drag. But aside from that, obviously much older than her too. She looks just like him. And skin tone, because her mother is Polish and white, as many Polish people are, and Freddie is Guatemalan, and his tone is brown, and he's dark, and so is she. And she has the Guatemalan look. She looks just like one of Freddie's sisters. Yeah, exactly. In fact, spitting image of one of his younger sisters. The family is not met, but I won't get into the final story of that, but there was a point where when we found out she was going to go up for adoption to the foster parents. They were going to sever his parental rights, but they never contacted us, and we were around. They could have, to let us know if he wanted to stop that. And in fact, I think they did contact the social worker to ask me on the phone, does he want to give up his parental rights? And he said no. And we lived in California. The child was in Pennsylvania. So we said, no, we want to meet her and we want to see what the situation is, because we did not realize she wasn't with her mother until that time. And we want to see what the situation is, because we did not realize she wasn't with her mother until that time. So he said, fine. And then he hung up. I didn't hear from him again for a long time. And then next thing you know, we get a notice that there's a hearing in Pennsylvania. We still live in California. We're working hard. We're not rich people. We're just doing okay then. And that's fine, both working. That the next day that his parental rights would be severed and considered that he didn't show up and didn't want anything to do with his daughter, which was completely untrue. Nobody contacted us and said we had to do that, because that's what we didn't know that whole time, that she wasn't with her mother. That's what we didn't know. So we found out. And I called them immediately and said, you need to stop the case, because he wants to go there and meet his daughter and do what we can do and see what we can do legally. And they said, oh, it's too late. You waited too long. I said, no, we didn't, because you can't tell me no when he's the biological father and he never got his rights served. And I told them the story about the social worker. They found that she had a new social worker who I guess ignored his notes, or he wrote them down wrong, or he lied. I don't know. A lot of people didn't get their messages right at that point. So I had to take care of that, and we did. What happened was, so I got a hold of everybody I could, and I ended up getting on the phone with the judge of the case for the next day, and I got the court hearings stopped and postponed, let's say, for a while. a long time, so we could have a chance to get ourselves together, get over to Pennsylvania to get to meet her, figure out if we can get counsel to help his case, etc., etc. And so that was probably in a September area, October, I would think, of 2004 or three. I've lost track. I have to remember what year she was born. But anyway, she's an adult now, so I'll leave it at that. But she was at that point already 7 years old. She had been in foster care for 2 years without our knowledge by the time of the court case happened. Then we decided I made plane tickets. I took care of everything, got it handled. We got plane tickets for, I think, December something, like before Christmas, because we didn't want to, interrupt holidays yet. He wanted to meet her, while he could. And the next court case would be coming up, I think, in the new year after that, just right after that. I got it postponed long enough that we could get something done. Or I don't even know if we had a date yet, but that's not here nor there. So I had a day and a time that we would be in Pennsylvania, and we'd stay a little while, but I picked the day we would visit with her and meet her. Well, him especially, because it was basically his daughter. So we had that date. I called up the social worker. God's earth you'll ever meet her, meaning him. For me, it didn't matter. I just wanted him to get the chance. And they said, nope, can't happen. We've already decided to sever the rights, and we're going to do that. It's just you may have postponed the court case, but it's already happening. No, you have to give him his due rights as the biological father, because he didn't know she existed. And by the date that he didn't know that, he had a right to get to know his daughter and meet her. And I said, we're coming on that day. Well, her child psychologist is on vacation. I said, well, when's she coming back? We'll see if we can change those tickets. I think I had not refundable, but changeable tickets. Plane tickets and everything, car, hotel, motel, and everything's starting to be booked. And then they said, no, we don't know. You can't do it. There's nothing. I said, who's above you? So I went above her to whoever ran the whole Department of Social Services, of child protection, whatever they want to call it, and said, look, that's unacceptable. I don't care. Then get a different child psychologist. Oh, no, we're not going to interrupt her. I said, you have to, because he is the biological father, and I know many cases where they do far worse. He's not going to hurt her. He just wants to meet her and see where everything is, and see what's going on, and to see what he decides to do from there. But he needs to meet her and know her, etc., at least a little bit. And we're coming on this day. I said, we're going back to the original date. This is the day we're going to see her, so you better find another child psychologist. I went above her. They said the same thing. There's no way on God's green earth you're ever going to meet the child or get to know her. We're not going to get you another social worker or a child therapist or whatever. I said, no, that's unacceptable. He is the biological father. He has rights. You have taken those rights away without his permission or without even asking him or trying to contact him. And your social worker before the one she had now lied or did something wrong. So I made a lot of calls that day. I got on the phone, so I went above her. I said, who runs the whole thing? So I think I ended up getting a hold of maybe the county clerk or the court. I don't remember, but something like that. I ended up there, but by the end, I ended up getting to the governor of Pennsylvania, because you can reach anybody you need to. I got to the governor's office. Did I talk to him directly? No, but I was close to it. I ended up talking to his wife, because his wife was an advocate, as many people in political power, was an advocate for children's rights and fathers' rights, because Pennsylvania and a lot of places are very, very against fathers having any rights. Being that my boyfriend was also deaf, so disabled, I said, you cannot deny him his fatherly rights, especially since he didn't know. The woman did not tell him it was his child. She did tell Pennsylvania it was his child. That's why they came after us, and that's also a long story of how that happened. But they didn't tell us for 5 years. For 5 years, he was not, well, I didn't know him that long at that point, but he was not contacted or told that he had a daughter in Pennsylvania. He had heard rumor, but there was no legal stuff. And then they took child support away from our account, because he and I were together by this time when she was about 5 years old. And that's how we found out it was his daughter, or at least supposedly. That's why we had DNA after that to make sure, but it was 99.999%. And then when I met her, because, by the way, so I got to the governor's wife, and then the next thing you know, I get a phone call from the Child Protective Services or the Child Services in Pennsylvania and said, okay, fine, you can come on that day. And there was no child psychologist there, by the way, that I know of. If she went to one, maybe before, her foster parents were there. We met them and they were in the room with her. They weren't going to like leave her alone with us, which whatever. He just wanted to meet her, and he did. Got pictures and all stuff. And then a lot of other stuff happened after that concerning that whole situation. They did end up adopting her, but that was when he signed away his rights because that's what his daughter wanted. And by the time that happened, well, she was 8. So it took about a year and a half. And we moved to Pennsylvania right after that. But that is that's probably a book in itself, but not my story fully to tell. I'm certainly highly involved with it, and maybe I will tell it, but I don't know if there's a lot of interest in that. And the boyfriend is my ex-boyfriend. He is remarried now. The daughter is grown and living her life and doing very well. I believe she lives in California, which is where we were, and she was raised in Pennsylvania. And then my ex has he has 4 children altogether. His oldest son lives in Guatemala and never has really been to America as far as I know. And his oldest son has 2 children, a wife and 2 children. So at least 2. He might have 3 by now because I haven't been in touch because I'm not really with this boyfriend anymore at all. He cut me off completely in September of 2021 because his wife, I believe, was just jealous. And she's a young woman. And with the wife he has now, the same age as his oldest son. I know if you're following, but anyways, and he has grandchildren. So mind you, he has his oldest son who has 2 children, which means he has 2 grandchildren, last I heard. And his oldest son is the same age approximately as his current wife. His current wife, she's of age. I mean, they're in their 30s, maybe even pushing on 40 now. But when he married her about almost 5 years ago, I think now, which I was all happy for them and very happy that he found somebody to be with because I wasn't going to be with him. And she's also deaf and she's also from Guatemala, so very good match. They live in New York because he followed me here, of course. And I was his friend. We stayed friends after we broke up. And for many years, friends for 21 years. Well, we were dated for like 5 or 6 of those, but 21 years I knew him because we started dating in 2000. That said, his wife, who he married, like I said, 5, 6 years ago now, or met 5 or 6 years ago, after a while, and I used to visit them, and in fact, I was even there. Their first baby together was born in 2020, right in the heart of the pandemic. And because he could not go in the hospital room with her and she was deaf, they had the video phone and they called me. So I was right after the baby was born. I mean, minutes after he was born. So I feel a virtual one because I didn't have money, but I had many people send them wonderful gifts because they had nothing for the baby. And they received lots of wonderful gifts before he was born in 2020. And then I was on the phone with her from the hospital room because we could do stuff virtually as they did, because she called me and said, I want Freddie to know his son is born, and etc. And they couldn't find him because it's hard to reach a deaf person. And I don't think he had a phone, but I'm not sure if he just had text on it. Of course, he can't use a regular phone. But I was able to get a hold of him and let him know that they would let him back at the hospital, and then they would work out something for him to come in since the baby was already born. And that was all fine and well. But so he had that, and then he had that baby, my wonderful, I call him like my grandson, but they pushed me out of their life in 2021 for the reason that she doesn't like me. Again, I guess she felt competition, but again, I had and they kind of turned on me, and that's really sad. But not here nor there. And thinking of that today was a little bit about, you're not above or beyond anybody else, but sometimes things happen. We'll talk about that a different day because I have a different thing about that, about toxic people. Okay. And that would be tomorrow, which will be really today, just so you know. And we'll go from there. But I was telling you about nobody is above you or beyond you, that you can reach the governor. I remember also in the 70s, there was something going on with the children coming out of I think they called them the boat people, but there was these children coming out of one of the Asian countries, and my mother wanted to get a hold because she had foster children. I grew up with foster sisters and foster sisters because I was a girl when I was very young, so they would only give her girls. So she wanted to see if she needed to and could. My mother was in the army years before I was born and had done her time, but they told her that there was no way she could become a foster parent to these children who needed homes, and they're talking about having trouble finding homes for them. My mother goes, I can foster them. She might have even been willing to adopt one or two of them. And so said, I'm going to get a hold of somebody, and they went and let her. So she called the Pentagon, and she got through because you can. And I believe she was about to be on the phone with the president at the time, but the Pentagon answered her questions and talked to her. We did not end up getting foster children or even adoptive children from those particular children because they eventually did get adopted and it was taken care of. But that said, you can reach anybody. My mother taught me that because I was very young when it happened. In the 70s, I was a child. So keep that in mind. You can reach anybody. And you are not more important. Well, you are important to you. And I'm getting messages. Let's see who wants to talk to me. While I'm on the phone with you, you're my friends. Let's talk. I will share. Oh, that was just the usual stuff. You got to turn off some of these things because I'm receiving, little fun things I like to read once in a while, but I don't need them, dinging on me. Ding, ding, ding. Because I don't need to read them at the second they come. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your... Oh, okay. They're just reading. Follow me. Subscribe. You're here. Subscribe. There's so much more to talk about. I'll be in touch with you more. If you have questions, write them. I do teach law of assumption. I coach law of assumption, law of attraction. And I also have it's in this case, the What's My Thing Edge. I will post here ways to reach me and to buy those things ranging from $11. $11. You can do $11. Come on. You help me out as a business, and I have testimonials. I have people who I've done this for, but let's keep it going. Come on. Help out the ones who are starting out. I'm starting out with the business part of it. I've done it before. I've taught many things. I've even taught psychic medium classes. And if you're interested in all that, you can write me. Some of that is here on the YouTube. Watch the videos. If it's not, send me a note here. Send me a thing. You can write me. I'll give you now my address to write me because that's important. And then I'll give you, let's see if I've done this before. So while I'm on, I can send you things, but I don't want it to run too long because I have to do day 3. So let's see. We'll focus on, I can't see what I'm doing because I'm in a weird angle. That's what I get for doing it like this. I should set up. Yeah. Okay, let's do this one. Angel Aura, because it's shorter. I have several emails. Don't worry if you see another one, you can use that one too. It's probably a good one if it's related to me. AngelAura28@yahoo.com for any questions. Come on in, come check it out. And I'll see if I can add more later. Let's see what I can do right now. I think I can add some URLs. Let's see if I have them, but I don't think I do. I'm going to do this later because it's going to be easier for me. Subscribe to the things I have. I'm going to give you notes on how to do that, and we'll talk again soon, probably later on tonight. So I think this is enough for now because, again, I'm coming back later on tonight with the next thing that I've learned in 62 years of life. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I go on and on, but I'm better with classes. So if you do take my courses or my classes, I'm very concise. We can get right down to it. This is just my chat about and sharing wisdom with you. And the wisdom I'm also going to share with you, seeing on what you want. The power of prayer, which is pray as if it already is. Let's look at it that way. And the pray as if it already is instead of, please, universe, I pray to the universe, the power within you. Please, it's not please make my mother feel better. It's more thank you for the health of my mother. Thank you. My mother has passed, by the way, but this is just an example. Thank you for my friend getting better and better every day. Thank you that my friend got better. And then the other way to pray which is really the right way to pray. You don't have to look up whatever. It's the universe. The universe is you, but you are here. You can do it even for yourself. You can just remember yourself as very healthy, running about. There's been miracle cures with that. Like, I'll give you a quick example because this is good for this kind of thing. Also, getting to meet his child, I imagined that we did, and we did. I wasn't particularly trying to use law of assumption at that time, but I knew we would see her. That's what I'm saying. When I was calling these people and they're saying no, I said, that's not possible because I see it. That's also what happened with me in meeting Tim Curry. It took me 5 years to meet him, but I always saw me talking to him. I imagined it. You create what you imagine is already true because it becomes so matter of fact. It's almost like it is a dream come true because meeting him was very exciting. But that said, I always saw us as just having a very natural, great conversation. And by the way, we did. I was a bit, excited because of course you would be. But you get to the point where something is so real to you, you walk in the state of what you believe to be true. If you walk in the state that I'm abundant and know that you're abundant and know that, people talk about affirmations, but they're very good as long as you're at the point where it's just true for you. Oh, money always comes to me. I have wonderful clients and you are my wonderful clients. Come on in. Come check it out because you know what? I know you're going to buy my offers because you're going to love them and we're going to be friends. I make friends probably with all my clients. That's why I can only take a certain amount. So when you go to the URL, just know that. Now, my $11 deal, which is great. It's a great start for you. If you don't know what you want to do and want to figure that out, or if you already know what you're doing or what you want to do, if you're not doing what you want to do, let's say, I'm going to use examples. The $11 deal is great for you either way. It's a great place to start. What happens is I send you a set of questions based on what you tell me, like saying, I want to expand my business, which is this, or I want to change the name of my business and find more ways to monetize it. I'm very good at getting other people money. Let's keep that in mind. I am excellent at getting other people money. That's my expert thing. It doesn't necessarily mean I get myself a lot of money because $11 is not a whole lot, but I appreciate it and I love it. And I have certainly bigger ticket items, but check it out. Go to my Substack and subscribe because it's also free at this point and it will have all my offers there. I'll put that in here as soon as I get to it because I'm on the computer and it's all on my phone and I don't know if I can transfer it all over at one time, but I will. I'll put it in after because I think I can put it in the comments so you'll have ways to contact me, and I will because I did that the other day. So check it out. Come check us out. And it helps you. It helps me, but it helps you. I'll talk to you then, okay? So remember, as if it already is. And you can do, one of my favorite things now is people are doing what they call ask-formations. Why is it that I make so much money every single day? Why is it that money just keeps coming to me and coming to me? But make that real. And then the statement would really be, money comes to me so every day, lots of it. And I love it. And when you want something, let's say to meet somebody, imagine having a conversation with them, a wonderful conversation. I used to see Tim and I, there's a guy named 2020 who's on here somewhere, and I love him because he taught me a lot. I took some classes with him. I've learned a lot. 2020 talks about the coffee talk or imagining the coffee, and he might have got that from Neville Goddard, but it's a good one. Imagine that you're sitting and having coffee. You can be in Starbucks, you can be at your home, you can be at his home, you can be anywhere you want. You can be on a beach somewhere. And you're having, I just got itchy on my foot. You can be having coffee with them. I say tea because I don't drink coffee. But imagine that in this case, I'll do a scenario. You're sitting across from Tim Curry and having a great conversation. And he has his coffee or tea. You can both have coffee. And you just say, you're laughing and having a great time together, a great conversation. You can have a conversation in your mind. I used to do that. I used to see myself just chatting with or hanging out with Tim. And I kind of sort of got there, not as fully maybe as I imagined, but that's okay. Don't worry about how it comes. Just know that it has. And by the time I met him, it was like I knew he didn't know me per se, but I felt like he knew me and I knew him, so the conversation was much easier to a degree. I did have to push myself off a wall and start talking. And it's not hard for me to start talking, as you can see. It's hard for me to stop, as you can also see. And I started talking to him because everything came back to me that I had had these 5 years of conversations with him in my imagination. And here I was standing right in front of him as if it was meant to be. It was just meant to be. And then he did like me, and we started writing back and forth in many ways. And again, I'll share all that in the book. So we did write back and forth. He always remembers me. And we have had conversations, and I've seen him in person many, many times. And he's been in touch with me several times, various ways, including email. But that's, again, got to wait for the book. So the book so far titled Curried, Curryed. And then I haven't decided completely yet on what the rest of that will be. There's been different ideas. I'm still working on those. Curried, I have a clue this could be something of a legend, which was made by a friend of mine, or Curried, the adventures, tales meeting Tim Curry, or Tales of a Lazy Stalker, which I thought would be a funny joke. We'll see. I'm also in conversation, when I can, with Tim about writing me a forward, if he will. He hasn't said yes, but you know what? I believe he has. He said yes. Hi, Tim. Thank you. Thank you for writing the forward of my book. And he may tell you that the book is silly and kind of funny, but that's okay. I don't mind putting that out there. And it's also an homage to him of saving my life, because when I met him, well, right before I met him, I was full anorexic, and that story, like I said, is out there. Do your Google, Curry's Angel, or McDonald's French fries. Tim Curry and McDonald's French fries. That's one of my favorite stories, and it's definitely out there. You'll like that. How they both saved my life, and my mom. But McDonald's French fries and Tim Curry did save my life back in the day. This was before I met him, but it's a cool story. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.